In the sixth installment of the Corazón del Crimen series, entitled Brown Sugar Baby, we catch up with our beloved characters as they navigate the treacherous underworld of drugs and crime. Juliet, aka Brown Sugar Baby, a newcomer to the game, has quickly risen to become one of the biggest distributors on the East Coast, sending shockwaves through the drug world. But as the team of novice players bask in their newfound success, they soon discover that they've caught the attention of some of the most dangerous players in the game. With unexpected danger lurking around every corner, can they survive this treacherous world of crime and drugs? Written by Troy Bellow, this explosive new chapter is not to be missed. Intro. The world of drug dealing is tough, especially for a black woman like Juliet. But with her smarts and determination, she's quickly risen through the ranks to become a major player. And now, she's known by her street name, Brown Sugar Baby. Chapter 1. The Rise. Juliet couldn't believe her eyes as she watched the counting machine add up the stacks of cash. It had only been 2 weeks since she teamed up with Steve and Nicole, and already they had made over $300,000. Sipping on a glass of Dom, Juliet let out a satisfied sigh. She had come a long way from her days as a struggling waitress. Now, she was running her own drug operation, with a network of loyal customers at her disposal. But she knew better than to get too comfortable. The game was always changing, and she needed to stay one step ahead of her rivals. That's why she had reached out to Steve's brother, C-Rock, also known as the Puerto Rican Warlock. C-Rock was a legend on the streets, with connections to the Latin Kings and other powerful groups. With his help, Juliet was able to move her product more quickly and safely. Of course, there were still risks involved. The streets were full of sharks and vultures, always looking to take down a rival crew. But Juliet was determined to protect her territory and keep her business safe. As she looked around the room, watching Steve and Nicole play with their nieces and nephews, she knew that they were in this together. They had become a family, bound by loyalty and a shared desire for success. And with Brown Sugar Baby at the wheel, they were ready to take on the world. Chapter 2. The heat is on the camera zooms into the police department, where Chief of Police Pete Machete stands in front of a bulletin board with several pictures pinned to it. The board is full of images of known drug dealers and criminals in the city, and at the top of the pyramid is a spot reserved for a name without a picture: Brown Sugar Baby. The room is filled with police officers, all wearing serious expressions as they listen to Pete Machete speak. He points to the board and announces that their main priority is Brown Sugar Baby, a black American woman who's been slinging all this toxic white girl. The officers nod in agreement, understanding the severity of the situation. Brown Sugar Baby has been making waves in the drug world, and her name has been popping up more and more frequently in recent weeks. It's clear that she's a major player, and the police force is determined to take her down. As the meeting comes to a close, one of the officers known as Crooked K approaches Pete Machete. He whispers something into the chief's ear, and Pete's expression turns sinister. Crooked K explains that he might have a lead on where Brown Sugar Baby and her crew have been staying, and he just wants permission to do what he does best. Pete nods in agreement, a wicked grin spreading across his face. "I don't expect to be doing any paperwork," he says to Crooked K. "Make sure you just bring back the body." The officers file out of the room, their footsteps echoing on the tiled floor as the tension in the air becomes palpable. The police department is not your typical government building, but rather a run-down structure that has seen better days. The walls are stained with grime, and the air is thick with the smell of sweat and desperation. Despite the grim surroundings, the police force is determined to take down Brown Sugar Baby and her crew. They know that she's a major player in the drug world, and that she's been making a name for herself a little too fast. Her rise to power has caught the attention of the same man who framed her, and everyone knows that Pete Machete always gets his man or woman. The heat is on for Brown Sugar Baby, and no one knows how it will end. The game just got a lot more dangerous, and the stakes have never been higher. Chapter 3. Loyalty and Fury. The camera pans over to the Bronx, where we see Carlito Nene on the rooftop of one of his buildings, overlooking the city. He's standing next to Kid, a young boy he took under his wing after his mother couldn't care for him. Kid is transformed under Carlito's guidance, becoming a disciplined soldier, ready to protect the man who saved his life. As they stand on the rooftop, Kid surveys the city with a semi-automatic weapon in hand. He's proud to be by Carlito's side, and Carlito is proud of him. They share a bond that is unbreakable, a father-son relationship that goes beyond words. But their moment of tranquility is interrupted by the shrill sound of Carlito's phone ringing. He answers the call, and immediately his tone turns menacing. In Spanish, he demands to know why his product is not selling as it should be. The man on the other end of the line explains that they've lost 50% of their customers due to a new player in town, Brown Sugar Baby. Carlito explodes in anger, and his words are filled with fury. He tells the man that he wants Brown Sugar Baby dead, and he's willing to pay $500,000 to anyone who can make it happen. His voice is filled with venom, and it's clear that he means business. The atmosphere on the rooftop changes in an instant, from peaceful to explosive. Kid can sense the danger, and he knows that things are about to get even more intense. But he's ready to follow Carlito into battle, no matter what. As the camera fades to black, we're left with a sense of excitement and anticipation. What will happen next in Carlito's quest to take down Brown Sugar Baby? Chapter 4. The Mighty Escobar Family. As the cameras fly over the vast estate of Sonia Escobar, viewers are immediately taken aback by the sheer grandeur of her mansion. The sprawling gardens, perfectly manicured lawns, and lavish water features are a testament to the power and wealth of the notorious drug lord. Inside, the opulence continues as Sonia sits at her desk in one of her many offices. Her eyes are transfixed on the mesmerizing fish swimming in the enormous tank beside her. The colors of the fish are breathtaking, deep purples, vibrant oranges, and shimmering blues. It's almost as if they were painted by a master artist. Beside her, her sister Nancy sits, her hand resting on a semi-automatic weapon, ready to defend their empire at a moment's notice. Tanya, the deadly assassin from Ecuador, is also in attendance, her presence a reminder of Sonia's iron grip on the drug trade. And then there's Senor Jaime, the reggaeton singer whose chart-topping hit Damacito Baby has helped the Escobar family cement their place as the most powerful drug cartel in the city. When Sonia receives a call from one of her lieutenants reporting an increase in sales thanks to Brown Sugar Baby's product, the room erupts in celebration. Nancy pops open a bottle of champagne, and they all raise their glasses in a toast to their imminent victory over Carlito Nane and his Bronx empire. But even as they bask in their success, it's clear that these are ruthless killers who will stop at nothing to achieve their goals. Sonia, in particular, exudes an aura of power and menace that is impossible to ignore. Her family's name may hold weight, but she's determined to make an even bigger name for herself, even if it means spilling blood to do it. Chapter 5. Plustax the Network. Jana and Dana were excited to be back on the air for another episode of Plustax Paparazzi. As always, they had the juiciest gossip to share with their audience. But today's main topic was the mysterious Brown Sugar Baby. "Everyone in the city is talking about it," Jana said, looking into the camera. "TikTok dances, rappers, and influencers have all been shouting out that name, giving their respect to Brown Sugar Baby. But what is it? A person? A product? We don't know." Dana chimed in. "We've been doing some digging, and we found out that it's not a drug, as some rumors suggest, but it's definitely the new big thing. People are obsessed with it." Ashley, who had just returned to the show after her ordeal, smiled and nodded. "Yes, I can confirm that. I've been hearing about Brown Sugar Baby all over the place. It's the talk of the town." Jana turned to Ashley and said, "Speaking of which, we're so glad you're back with us, Ashley. We were all worried about you after what happened." Ashley thanked Jana and Dana and quickly changed the subject. "But back to Brown Sugar Baby, it's not just a hashtag or a trend. There's something more to it. We just don't know what it is yet." Dana added, "But we're determined to find out. We've got our best people on it, and we'll keep you all updated as soon as we know more." The conversation then shifted to another hot topic, the breakup of Sonia Escobar and Tom Cruise. Jana and Dana had all the inside scoop, and their audience was eager to hear all the details. As the show came to a close, Jana reminded everyone to keep an eye out for any news on Brown Sugar Baby. "Who knows? Maybe one of you out there can help us solve this mystery." The show ended with the usual catchy outro, and the hosts bid their audience goodbye until the next episode. Chapter 6. The Sweetest Temptation. The neon lights flickered above the entrance of the upscale gentlemen's club, inviting all who passed by to indulge in the seductive pleasures that awaited them inside. As we made our way through the dimly lit corridors, we were met with an endless array of beautiful women, each one more alluring than the last. We passed by a busty blonde, straddling a businessman in a tailored suit, whispering sinful promises in his ear. Further down, a sultry brunette was super-grinding on the lap of a stockbroker, her toned curves and piercing blue eyes a hypnotic sight to behold. As we approached the VIP section, we were met with a group of heavily armed soldiers, their intimidating presence a clear indication of their loyalty to the General Roberti. In their midst, we spotted him, the infamous leader of Honduras, surrounded by 5 women who were putting on an exclusive show for his eyes only. And then we saw her, the most breathtaking woman in the room. Her skin was the color of rich caramel, glistening with sweat as she moved with a fluid grace that was nothing short of mesmerizing. Her curves were dangerous, her hips hypnotic, and her eyes were like molten gold, flickering with a hidden fire that could consume any man who dared to look too deeply. As she straddled the general, her movements were fluid and effortless, as if she had been born to seduce him. She leaned in close, her lips brushing against his ear as she whispered those forbidden words. "I know you want some of this brown sugar, baby." Those words were like a spark, igniting a fire within the general's mind. Suddenly he was consumed by the desire to know everything about this mysterious name that seemed to be on everyone's lips. He knew that it was connected to the drug trade in some way, and he was determined to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. But for now, he was content to lose himself in the sweetest temptation he had ever encountered. As the woman grined and twerked against him, he was transported to a world of pleasure and ecstasy, a world where nothing else mattered except the two of them. And for that brief moment, as the sounds of the club faded into the background, the general was horny as hell. Chapter 7. Brewing Tensions. Carlito Nene sat in his office surrounded by his 6 top official lieutenants. They gave him a rundown on all the bad news that had been piling up lately. Sales were down in their drug trade, and Sonia Escobar had succeeded in killing Tommy's girlfriend's sister, who was an affiliate of Carlito Nene's in Florida. The assassin Tanya was sent by Sonia Escobar, and the same night, Senor Jaime was able to intercept another one of Carlito Nene's associates who was headed to Florida to assist Carlito. The associate has been in a coma at Jackson Memorial Hospital in Florida ever since. Carlito was enraged by all the bad news. He knew Sonia Escobar was behind all of it, and he couldn't let it go unpunished. His blood boiled as he listened to his lieutenant's reports. The men looked to him for answers, and he could feel their anxiety and fear. He took a deep breath and told the men to pay for 20 of the city's best shooters. He wanted military-grade shooters, guys that specialize in high-powered rifles. He wanted to set up 20 guys all around Sister Francis's church next Sunday. Sister Francis would be giving a special service, and they were sure that Sonia Escobar would be attending. The plan was that as soon as the service was over and Sonia walked out of the church, it would be her last day. Carlito Nene ordered his generals to gather up the men and instruct them that money is of no object. His rage was uncontrollable, and his eyes had turned bloodshot red. Everyone in the room could feel Carlito's bloodlust. It was a green light on Sonia Escobar. Little did Carlito know Sister Francis was still in Barbados with Sister Centella, and the events leading up to that Sunday were about to make a turn he could never predict. Sister Centella's husband, Lennox, was known in the streets as the Ox. He was a God-loving man, but his reputation was larger than life. Lennox was the father of security Frank, also known as Ugly O or Omar, a well-known top-tier risk-taker assassin and Plustack's president, plus his other son was Troy Bellow, the prophet. The three were known as the three-headed monster, the 3 corners of the pyramid. They held the secrets to the Plustack's pyramid. These men were military-trained, tested, and proven all around the world. These men were the real authors of the art of war, and spilling blood was a sport. There was no doubt in Lennox's mind that they would have snipers on the roofs as well. There was no doubt in his mind that there would be 100 risk-takers in attendance that day. There was not a doubt in his mind that the gangsters from Connecticut would not be present. All would come because the three-headed monster had arrived in New York City. Lennox, also known as the Mighty Ox, Security Frank and Troy Bellow, the bricks on top of the pyramid. Carlito Nain had no idea what was coming his way, but he could feel the brewing tensions, the calm before the storm. The air was thick with anticipation, and everyone was on edge. The events that would transpire on that Sunday would change the course of everyone's lives forever. Chapter 8. Sylvia, the island's brown sugar baby. Sister Frances stepped off the plane at Grantley Adams International Airport and was immediately hit with the sweet scent of sugar cane that filled the air. She took a deep breath and smiled, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face. Beside her, Sister Centella was already waving to a driver holding a sign with their names. "Welcome to Barbados, Sister Frances," said Sister Centella as she hugged her friend. "I'm so glad you could join me." "I wouldn't miss it for the world," replied Sister Frances, taking in the sights around her. "This place is beautiful." As they drove through the winding streets of the island, Sister Centella pointed out the landmarks and the history of the place. She talked about the sugar plantations, the rum distilleries, and the cricket matches that drew crowds of cheering fans. "Barbados is more than just a vacation spot," she said. "It's a place with a rich history and a culture that's worth exploring." They drove through Huddleston Turning, through St. Michael's, admiring the stunning views of the Caribbean Sea. The driver took them to Rihanna's home, a grand mansion overlooking the ocean. Sister Centella had arranged for a special meeting with the singer, who was known for her philanthropic work in Barbados. Rihanna welcomed them with a smile, and Sister Frances was struck by how down-to-earth she seemed. "I'm honored to receive this award," said Rihanna, as she accepted a plaque from Sister Centella. "But I couldn't have done it without the support of my island community." Sister Frances and Sister Centella spent the rest of the day exploring the island, from the bustling streets of Bridgetown to the serene beaches of St. Lawrence. They sampled the local cuisine, including flying fish and cuckoo, and danced to the rhythm of calypso music. As the sun began to set, they made their way back to the airport in a brand-new Maybach. Sister Centella's husband, Lennox, drove them, while the security guards sat in the front seats. "I'll miss this place," said Sister Frances, as she gazed out the window at the lush landscape. "But I'm glad we're going back to New York to make a difference." Sister Centella nodded, a determined look on her face. "We have a mission to accomplish, and we won't rest until we've made our city a safer place." As they boarded the plane, Sister Frances felt a sense of gratitude for the experiences she had on the island. She had made a new friend in Sister Centella, learned about the rich history and culture of Barbados, and had the opportunity to honor Rihanna for her contributions to her home. "Barbados has a way of leaving a mark on you," she said to Sister Centella as they settled into their seats. "I can't wait to come back and explore more of this beautiful island." Chapter 9. The Bum Rush. Crooked K and his team of crooked cops arrive at Miss Nicole's mansion, ready to carry out their paid hit. They pull up in New York patrol cars and quickly make their way to the front door. Inside, Miss Nicole, Steve, and Juliet are alerted to the threat and immediately rush to secure the children in the safe room. As they make their way to the armory, Miss Nicole leads the way, grabbing 2 guns and several grenades. Steve and Juliet each grab 2 guns as well, with Juliet selecting a sleek black pistol with a silver barrel that catches her eye. Miss Nicole also selects a kitchen knife, her personal favorite weapon. Crooked K and his team break through the front doors of the mansion and begin to make their way through. Miss Nicole can hear their movements and directs Steve and Juliet to take out 2 of the cocksuckers. Steve booms one with a quick shot, while Juliet takes out another with a precise headshot. Miss Nicole Bum rushes 3 of the intruders herself, using her extensive training to fuck them up quickly. She also demonstrates her hand-to-hand combat skills when she comes face-to-face with one in a narrow hallway. The 2 trade blows, with Miss Nicole expertly dodging and countering. When the officer gets too close, she pulls out her kitchen knife and guts him with a swift strike. The rest of the officers are quickly taken out, either shot or stabbed, and Crooked K is forced to retreat when he realizes the mission has failed. As soon as he's gone, the team gathers up a few belongings and makes their way into Miss Nicole's most expensive cars. Juliet, Steve, and Miss Nicole each drive individual cars, with plans to meet up at one of Miss Nicole's other estates. As they speed away, they know they have to stay one step ahead of Crooked K and the corrupt police force. The sound of sirens in the distance as the team races towards their next destination, unsure of what lies ahead but determined to survive. Thank you for joining us on this thrilling journey through the pages of Brown Sugar Baby, the 6th installment of the Corazón del Crimen series. We hope you enjoyed following the action-packed adventures of our beloved characters. Stay tuned for the next chapter in their stories, as we'll be back soon with another installment of Corazón del Crimen. Until then, stay blessed.